Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. According to reports in Spain, Torres agents flying to Manchester this week to negotiate a transfer to Man United. Manchester United want to sign Torres and are prepared to pay 43 million. Erik Ten Hag wants him. Tottenham have offered 50 million euros for Torres. Torres is a centre back. He plays for Villarreal. He's been a very long-serving player at Villarreal. He's been with them for around 2 decades. He's made over 100 appearances. He's under contract with Villarreal until 2024. He is the age of 25. Do you think he'd complement Rafael Varane in our back line? At one point, Pau Torres had a loan spell with Malaga. Now, Erik Ten Hag confirms he wants Cristiano Ronaldo to stay. Cristiano Ronaldo missed the final game against Crystal Palace because Ronaldo picked up a hip injury. Since Ronaldo re-signed for Man United, he's got 24 goals in all competitions. He has 18 goals in the Premier League. Man United re-signed Ronaldo in the summer of last year from Juventus. His contract at Manchester United expires next year. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo is the highest earner at Man United at the moment. He earns around £480,000 a week. Ronaldo's won over 30 trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. Revert back to earlier on this year, he announced that his baby son had passed away, and that was upsetting. Now, as you all know, Erik Ten Hag is officially Man United's manager. Ten Hag recently had his first interview as the Manchester United manager. Ten Hag attended Manchester United's final game against Crystal Palace. Man United confirmed the appointments of Mitchell van der Gaag and Steve McLaren. You know, they're going to work alongside Ten Hag at Man United. Revert back to the other month though, it got officially announced that Man United appointed Erik Ten Hag as their new manager. Erik Ten Hag has replaced Ralf Rangnick. Ten Hag signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. You know, he's Manchester United's 5th permanent manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. Ten Hag's transfer budget has already been revealed. There's a lot of players he wants to recommend to the club. I'll mention a lot of the players that he's interested in bringing in. So he obviously wants to bring Jurriën Timber in. He wants to bring Anthony in. He's interested in that Lisandro Martinez. You know, Now he wants Pau Torres. Man United have been linked with Declan Rice for quite some time. We've been heavily linked with Frenkie de Jong from Barcelona, but now I'm hearing that Frenkie de Jong is set to stay at Barcelona for next season. We've been tentatively linked with Ousmane Dembele. I'm hoping that Ten Hag receives the right backing from the board. On the other side of things, he's going to get rid of a lot of players this year. It said that 10 players are set to leave Manchester United. Let me put into the equation that none of this squad is Ten Hag's, is inheriting players who other managers have brought in, just like Ralph Rangnick was, because none of this squad was Rangnick's. But it's good that, Ten Hag is experiencing the Premier League. I'm hoping at Man United he can replicate what he did at Ajax. You've got to admire what he did at Ajax. He won Eredivisie titles with them, he won Dutch Cups, and revert back to 2019, he got Ajax to the Champions League semi-finals. He was the Ajax manager for around 5 years. His contract at Ajax was due to expire next year. As for Rangnick, he was Manchester United's interim manager for around 4 or 5 months. Revert back to earlier on this year, it got officially announced that Ralph Rangnick got appointed in as the new manager of Austria. Rangnick signed a 2-year deal, but despite that, it said Ralph Rangnick will continue at Manchester United in a consultancy role until 2024. He did enjoy one transfer window as Man United's interim manager, and unfortunately he didn't get backed in this year's January transfer window. Revert back to earlier on this year though, Rangnick made changes because he recommended Ewan Sharpin as an assistant coach and analyst. He also recommended Chris Armisen as an assistant coach, and he recommended Saz Chalenzin as a sports psychologist, and before, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Those managers are David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and in November last year, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I said to you, I hate the way the football club has been run for a long time. We've got to get the Glazers out of Manchester United because they've been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. A lot of United fans have been protesting against the Glazers, and like I've mentioned already, the protesting will persist until the Glazers are out of the club. The Glazers are still planning to demolish Old Trafford and looking to build a new stadium. Man United have played in the same stadium for 112 years. The Glazers have owned Man United for a long time. They've owned the club for around 17 years. They purchased the club for around 500 million back in 2005. Revert back to earlier on this year, Matt Judge resigned. So reflecting on that, he said he won't play a role in the summer transfer window. Matt Judge was at Man United for around 8 years. As things stand, Man United have not won a trophy for 5 years. Man United have only won 4 trophies in the last 10 years. The 4 trophies won, obviously, we won 3 trophies under Mourinho. If you want to put the Community Shield into the equation, we won the FA Cup under Van Gaal. And the last time Man United won the Premier League was back in 2013. Man United have spent over £1 billion since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. You know, we've brought over 40 odd players in the last, 9 or 10 years. You know, Man United lost their last game to Crystal Palace 1-0 at Selhurst Park. Man United finished 6th. It was Man United's worst ever Premier League season. You know, Man United finished on, 58 points. Despite the loss to Crystal Palace though, you know, Man United are in the Europa League for next season. We need to get rid of a lot of players, like I've said. You know, I reckon, you know, Henderson's going to leave. You know, Dean Henderson is our second choice keeper. Last season only made 3 appearances. Lee Grant, also expecting him to leave the club this year. He's our 4th choice goalkeeper. Jones and Bayer on the way out of the club because last season Jones and Bayer told their teammates that they intend on leaving the club. Jones and Bayer backup centre halves, you know, they don't really get in the team. We need to get rid of Harry Maguire because he's not good enough to represent the club. Throughout the course of last season, a lot of United fans were demanding for the captaincy to be taken off Maguire. Maguire come back from injury not so long ago. He played against Palace, Maguire, and I thought he was very quiet. Alex Telles, you know, he's on his way out of the club. Telles, you know, has enjoyed the last few difficult months. He was our first choice left back under Rangnick. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's on his way out of the club. He said prior to the Palace game that Aaron Wan-Bissaka will be allowed to leave Man United this summer. Atletico Madrid apparently want him on loan. I heard that he could be going back to Crystal Palace. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was not our first choice right back under Rangnick. You know, Diego Dallo was. Matic, we know that he's leaving very soon. Revert back to earlier on this year. Matic announced he'll be leaving Man United this year despite having like 12 months left on his contract. Pogba looks like he's on his way out of the club. Damasio said not so long ago that Paul Pogba's 100% decided to leave Man United. Apparently Pogba was offered a 3-year contract by Juventus worth €7.5 million, but apparently Pogba's been demanding €11 million. Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus before he re-signed for Man United. Sky Sports said earlier on this year that Pogba is likely to move abroad when his contract runs out of Man United this summer. Pogba's actually out with injury at the moment, so he missed the 1-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. Jesse Lingard, it looks like he's on his way out of the club. He's out of contract soon. Lingard is a squad player, doesn't really get in the team, but he has been part of the club for a long time. He came up our academy and that. Martial, we'll get rid of him permanently. He obviously was out on loan with Sevilla last season. Juan Mata, I'm expecting him to leave this year. He may not leave this year, may leave next year because the Manchester Evening News said not so long ago that Juan Mata doesn't rule out staying at Man United. Mata's out of contract very soon. Mata has enjoyed 9 seasons at the club, so he's been a long-serving player. He's a squad player though, Mata doesn't really get in the team. He has started a few games though. Edison Cavani, he's leaving on a free. He's out of contract very soon. I can see Cavani going to Spain. And next year, I'm expecting players to leave. We've got quite a lot of players' contracts that do expire next year. You know, you've got De Gea's that expires next year, but I don't think he'll leave next year because last season De Gea was sensational. You've got Shaw's contract that expires next year. I thought Shaw was very poor last season, but he was good the season before. You know, Shaw's out with injury at the moment. You know, you've got Rashford's contract that expires next year. Rashford was very poor last season. Hasn't been the same player since he had that operation on his shoulder. Dalot, his contract expires as well next year. Cristiano Ronaldo's does. Jones's does. I think Fred's does as well, if I'm right. So there you go. And I think Heaton's does as well. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.